This is the dude that's supposed to be better than Shaq, Hakeem, all these dudes, and you can't post up.
Keep going, Ox.
You got a 6'3" dude on you and you flopping, falling around. You got two back-to-back turnovers because your big ass is flopping. Instead of hitting this little dude in the chest, like boom, give me the ball.
Ox.
Give me the ball. Here's my hand, Jamal. I'm right here.
I also think, honestly, of all the teams that are this deep, the Nuggets roster is not the. I don't love it. I love Jamal Murray because he's Canadian, but him being your second best player, quote air quote.
Tone, wouldn't that go back to how good your best player is? Because I mean, I feel like Joker did a good job of masking that in the past too. Because sure, they had I feel like they had KCP and when they had Bruce Brown. When I look at this kid Brown today, I don't think that there's much separation between him and KCP back then. I don't think there's a lot of separation between those two. But I feel like Joker was so good that he could mask a lot of the problems that they had in terms of their rotation.
But I think they also fell victim to Jamal Murray playing above who he is. And you get that in runs, right? Wiggins played above who he was when the Warriors won. Like, it happens, but that's not who they are. And so I think for longevity, you have to get that guy that's that consistent.
Hang on. Over almost 80 games in his career, including some disastrous meltdowns, Jamal Murray averages 24 points per game in the playoffs.
Great.
What's wrong with him being the second best player?
Nothing.
There's a lot of teams
that good enough in today's NBA to win a championship.
Okay, they just got beat by a team that doesn't have a second option as good as Jamal Murray, offensively at least. I'm going to remove J-Dub's defensive impact and Chet's defensive impact from that. Neither one of those guys provides.
Yeah, they just have a larger margin because they have the best defense we've seen in the last.
Yeah, you just answered your own question, is because they might not have a second guy who scores as much, but they have a 3, 4, 5 guy who can score and defend significantly better. So you got to look at the holistic roster, and in today's NBA, unless you're going to be that defensive team, which they're not, they need to. I think they need to improve at that number 2.
But how are you going to remove defense, Ben? Like,
I'm not.
We're talking about basketball players.
No, we're talking about second option.
Is better than this second option. J-Dub is better than Jamal Murray.
Okay, as a complete overall basketball player, yeah,
yes.
But as a scoring option in the playoffs, are we being for real now?
So Jamal Murray's better offensively than J-Dub.
Let's be clear.
Who gives you more overall impact?
Scoring option. I said,
but Ron, I gotta go with Penn on this one, y'all. I think Jamal Murray's better than, and I don't know if that's what Penn said as far as if he's better than J-Dub, but I like Jamal Murray as a second option when he's playing basketball.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I think last night was just a terrible showing from Jamal, and I think we're falling victim to a terrible showing from Jamal and pretending like that's just who he is.
He was
Jamal
sick.
Murray played.
He was dealing with the flu.
I don't know what it was. I don't care what it was. He played like shit last night, and I don't care why. What I'm saying is I think Jamal Murray is much better than that, and I think we're falling victim to a bad showing last night.
But you said
he was playing terrible.
You have to say when he's playing basketball. If you have to add that caveat,
I'm not. That's not a fair caveat because he plays good. He plays good when he plays bad in the playoffs.
It's not an indictment on Jamal Murray. It's a comment that if he's your second best player going up against these teams that are there right now that are so deep, you're not going to win.
That's the point, Tone, which is what I was going to ask you. So Jamal Murray, what he did in 23 when they won the NBA championship, you don't believe that that's who he is? Totally. No. All right. Well, yesterday, what we saw from him yesterday, that's not who he is neither.
He's somewhere in between those two guys. Yeah.
So he's not that neither. So who exactly is Jamal Murray? Because Swipe and I had this discussion. Because Swiper corrected me. I had him averaging like 22 a game since the All-Star break going into the playoffs. He's averaging like 22 and 6. That's who I think Jamal Murray is. I think he's a 19 to 22 a game guy. When we get to the playoffs, that can fluctuate between. He could give you 23, 24 a game on a Tuesday. He could do that. That's sure. I don't think that's ridiculous for who Jamal Murray.
Hang on. How is he 19? He hasn't dipped below 21 points per game in like 4 years, 5 years. So how is he 19 to 22? He's a 24 point per game scorer in his career in the playoffs on good efficiency, by the way.
Right.
With a lot of clutch moments. Like, we have heard people say he's one of the best like playoff risers in NBA history. I'm okay. I'll play this out.
Right.
Healthy roster. Name me How many teams have a second option, third option, fourth option as impactful or as good as a healthy Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon? The Boston Celtics?
Yes. Better than the Knicks.
They're better than the Knicks.
I think Denver's top four. I think Denver's top four is good.
Okay.
So
the issue is the deeper roster. You don't have a backup center.
I think they better than
Russell Westbrook is your backup point guard, and he is wildly inconsistent and volatile. You have a lot of young players who need to grow up a little bit, and you had a lot of health issues, which sort of, exacerbated your problems of depth, right? Because if Aaron Gordon has this hamstring issue and you have Aaron Wiggins on your bench, as opposed to whatever the hell else you have on your bench, you might be able to get away with it a little bit better. Depth helps you. Look, we literally had this conversation when we were breaking down who will dominate the West. Y'all remember 7 months ago who we had as the top two teams in the Western Conference? It's the two teams that are in the Western Conference Finals. We had OKC number 1 and Minnesota number 2. Yep. We had Denver number 4. We had Dallas number 3. So, not perfect, but Nico Harrison kind of fucked us over there. I'm just saying, I don't think this roster is that bad. They just pushed the OKC Thunder to 7 games hobbled. I think they deserve a little bit of credit.
I still think that game 4. I still think that game 4 was the series of the games, and I think that game 4 was the series. They put Oklahoma City in a 3-1 hole. I think the series is over. I think it's done. But the fact that Oklahoma City was able to top the series and now get that momentum back, because J-Dub wasn't playing good at that point. He was not. If they end up continuing this, I think that they get them dudes out of there 5, maybe 6 games.
Listen, OKC has to learn how to win, and that's what they're doing this year. Sure. And so they're only going to get better. So back to my original point is this roster as constructed needs to if Denver's going to want to compete with these young, great teams, they're going to have to get better, right? You bring up Jamal Murray scoring. Cool. In the championship run, he's averaged over 26 points per game in the playoffs. In the last 2 runs, 20 and 21. That's a 5-6 point dip from what he needed to do to win them a championship. So he's either going to have to score more or they're going to have to get better, deeper roster to compete with these young teams because they're good. Like all of these teams now are going 5, 6, 7 deep.
Indiana got 9 guys, Tone. Oklahoma City got 9 guys. Right? Yeah. Indiana got 9 guys. Oklahoma City got 8, 9 guys. Now the Knicks got 8 or 9 guys, but he only going to play 6 of them. That's the difference. Yeah, he's only going to play 6 of them.
Who?
So
the Knicks might play their 5 starters 48 minutes in the game.
He's got 9 guys. He only going to play 6 of them. So
they have 7. They have 7 guys they play.
They better play Mitchell
Robinson and Deuce. Yeah, that's the 7. So the starting 5 plus Mitch and Deuce.
Yeah, the Celtics also just fell off the face of the earth. They choked that series, so they shouldn't have lost in the first place.
They were hurt too.
Yo, hold on. I want to before we get to that series, I want to stay right here and Swiper as the resident Denver Nuggets guy. You tweeted something yesterday, and I felt for you. You said Jamal Murray is sick. MPJ has a hurt shoulder. Aaron Gordon is missing a hamstring. Westbrook has a hand injury, but they are fighting. And Mars responded to this, but I didn't want to put Mars's name.
I responded to that tweet. I don't know if I responded to that one.
You responded
I did a lot of responding. That one, I think that one.
Mars, do you chase Swiper around? Do you chase Swiper around?
I had time yesterday because I was meant to be podding at 7 Eastern, but obviously that got delayed. So I was just on Twitter scrolling, and because I follow Swiper, his tweets show up on my feed. And there was a lot of nonsense, so I had time. But
do you have time today, Mars?
That one's entirely true. I want to give Denver I didn't think they was going to come close to winning the series. The fact they got to a game 7 kind of shocked me. OKC are just a way better team, but you can't deny the fight that Denver had throughout the whole playoffs, especially in this series. I still think it was negligence that Aaron Gordon was out there playing, but he gave everything he had. You could see the man couldn't move, but he was trying. He was battling for rebounds. I seen him try and drive and finish over the top of someone. Now, obviously, that didn't work, but he tried. So credit to him. MPJ obviously dealing with the shoulder the whole playoff, so you give him a lot of credit. He wasn't good at all. Can call a spade, but fighting. Everyone, one thing you can't, I guess, question with Denver is the desire they had to compete and the fact that they turned into a good defense in the playoffs. Now, they sucked in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they played at a level defensively they hadn't really shown. So I do think you got to give Denver credit for that, but the better team ultimately did win. And I think the biggest issue for Denver, besides the injuries, was they didn't have another adjustment they could go to. Once Shea figured out the defense they were throwing at him, they didn't have other things to throw at him to, I guess, speed him up or slow him down, whatever you want to call it. Whereas OKC just had another roll of the dice.
I don't even think that's what happened for me.
I hate to step in and interrupt this intense yap session that you're currently watching, but I just have to inform you on all the amazing, spectacular, fabulous, endless ways to play and win over at PrizePicks. Basketball fans, I know the season is just tipping off. Yes, I know this. But you know what that means? It means that you have an opportunity to pick your favorite players and their matchups that are the most thrilling, and you can win money from these. With PrizePicks, you can play daily NBA contests and test your hoop knowledge by choosing the player projections and every single stat line imaginable to make your prize picks and take home some nice hard-earned cash. Are you a rookie in the game? Don't even sweat it. I got the playbook for you right here. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and you will get $50 instantly when you play 5 here with PrizePicks. So what are you waiting for? Download PrizePicks, use promo code PANEL, and join me as we break down all of our amazing daily picks right here on the panel. PrizePicks, run your game, control your game, win your game. It's easy, baby. It's easy.
I think the SGA stuff is what it is. The starters for Denver were better than the Clipper starters and the OKC starters, like consistently throughout both of the series. But I think
as bad as MPJ was playing, still,
yeah, because
they were like on-court net rates.
Yeah, they were winning all the minutes because what MPJ provides is what they don't have. It's just MPJ's existence on the court changes how teams are able to guard Jokic in the post and then able to guard Murray on the perimeter, and you can offset that with Christian Brown as slashing, because you see when Christian Brown had that dunk off Chet on the DHO, they're hanging on to Porter and Gordon because they can't leave them consistently. And obviously he's their fifth option. And so his ability to get to the rim and finish, I think, matters there. And a lot of that is credit to Porter for just being out there. But for me, I think what actually cost them game 7 is that if they don't have the ingenuity of the starting 5, and meaning the full access to like all of the calibers that they can get into because of Aaron Gordon and Porter and Jokic and Murray and Brown. To me, they lost when Aaron Gordon was injured, just because defensively, I think that made a big deal and a big difference in how they were able to guard for the rest of the game. I also think some of this too, like, you know, they have been able to withstand throughout the series OKC going on these runs because once they put the starters back in the game, they can either get back into the game or they can rechase the lead. And I think yesterday, at the top of the second quarter, you know, I don't know if because Jamal is still sick and he just didn't want to give him too many minutes. He played Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson. I think Aaron Gordon was out there, obviously, who's not 100%. And then he played maybe Michael Porter. I can't remember who it was. And they got blitzed like right away. I mean, they just went straight to hell right away. And I think I've tracked all series. You know, when the Nuggets starters were in the game with OKC starters, it was 21-10. And then as soon as Peyton Watson and Russ came into the game, OKC's able to play a different brand of defense. And I think because of the spacing issues that, you know, Mars talked about this all last year in the offseason as well, just creating a lot of those looks and advantages wasn't there. And I think that kind of also let OKC get in the game because the turnovers go up, the gambling goes up, but then the Nuggets just don't have the shot conversion on the other end. And it was 25 or 26-21 at the first quarter. Yep. And then, like I said, they went on a 6-0 run like to start the quarter. And then from that point on, it was back and forth until 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. And it was 41-42. And then the OKC Thunder went on an 18-5 run to close the half.
That's
and
what
I think they shot 7-7 over that stretch, and the Nuggets shot maybe 2 of 10 or something. And so from that point on, I think it got out of wax. And then the Caruso adjustment with Jokic, and then in particular the Caruso adjustment with Jokic in the third quarter as well. I think all of that kind of bled into where the blowout happened. On top of, I don't think that the Nuggets had the same level of firepower in the third quarter to be able to stage a comeback. Remember, they've been down multiple times by 15 and come back and got into the game and/or won in this series. But I don't think with AG being where he is and And especially the defense that they did play versus Joker. And I think Joker not being physical enough to establish some of that position, which is where I think he deserves to blame from. I think a mix of all those things is what led to OKC kind of going on the run they did in the second half for me.
The thing that I was really concerned with Swiper, the thing I was really concerned with Swiper before the series started, and you and I had this conversation, I was concerned about the turnovers. The turnovers was what was going to bother me because I know how good Oklahoma City is at converting the turnovers. And your boys yesterday, I believe it was in that second quarter, 3 straight turnovers. 3 straight turnovers, and that was part of blowing the game open. On top of them having 3 straight turnovers, the fact that you don't, and this is something that's got to be addressed in the offseason, you need to back up 5 man. You got to get a guy to back up Joker. And I don't think that you need somebody that's awesome, but you need somebody to supplement his minutes. Where when he's off the floor, we don't just completely die. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that in a game 7, I'm not coming out the game. Don't take me out the game. I've seen plenty of stars play to the caliber of Jokers in terms of stars. I've seen plenty of stars play the entire game. I'm not buying the whole gas thing, but
what do you mean you're not buying it?
Well, the reason why I'm not buying
it's the course of the season. He did play in the second half, though. He played the fourth quarter,
100%. But and when we
Murray
get to
as well,
this is why you need a backup 5 man. So when we get to spaces like this, he has enough rest where when we get to a game 7, I can go the whole game. When we get to a game 6, I could go the whole game because I have been supplemented throughout the course of the season. Don't take me out the game because we're going to lose if you take me out of the game.
But I don't think that's why they lost, though.
You're probably already going to answer my question.
Yeah.
Do you think them not having a backup center is the reason they lose or have lulls offensively when Joker is off the court?
I think it's not a modern offense.
There's going to be whoever that backup is. There's going to be such a huge drop off. They need someone who's going to facilitate offense, who's going to be able to score. So that there isn't, because the big drop off is what their offense does when he's off the court. That's the bigger drop off. So putting in a backup center who doesn't do any of that stuff, I don't think that makes them a better team.
But here's the difference, though, Tone.
Great.
Wait, chill. Damn the backup center. Damn that. Let's talk about the starting center for a second, please, for a second. Initially, I wanted to come up here and give your team a flower swipe. It was because it was starting to get real somber, and I feel like this should be more of a celebration. You know what I'm saying? The fact that your team narrowly escaped the Clippers. Shout out to Aaron Gordon, and then had this long run with this team, who I think that y'all should have beat. A team that I honestly think y'all are better than. A team that I believe y'all should have won this series. I think y'all had a better chance with them than y'all had against the Clippers. Now, I just want to talk about one simple thing because I was on Twitter and they was getting on me because I'm like, why? Like, there's no way Alex Caruso can guard Jokic. Like, because saying Alex Caruso now, and I made that tweet specifically to make sure that people didn't come up here with the narrative ongoing that, oh, yeah, I remember the time Alex Caruso locked up Jokic in Game 7 and they won, because that's just absurd, right? And then I'm talking about how he's being more of a gimmick, and these guys don't want to pass the ball into him. Their post entries are terrible, which is true. I mean, they couldn't handle the ball pressure. The dudes were like this with the ball, being real weak with it, couldn't get Jokic the ball. But then I remembered, this is the dude that's supposed to be better than Shaq, Hakeem, all these dudes, and you can't post up.
Keep going, Ox.
You got a 6'3" dude on you and you flopping, falling around. You got 2 back-to-back turnovers because your big ass is flopping. Instead of hitting this little dude in the chest, like boom, give me the ball.
Ox.
Give me the ball. Here's my hand, Jamal. I'm right here. Dump it down to the big fella. You're standing there with your arms at your side looking like rookie Victor Wembanyama and shit falling. What are you doing? This is an embarrassment. This is the dude that's supposed to have more.
He was fighting with Joe. He was fighting with.
Chill. If that's Joel,
oh no, Caruso just like that. I don't know.
No, he's not, Mars.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
He's a hell of a defender, Mars. He's a hell of a defender.
And by the way, quit shrinking Caruso to fit your bullshit narratives. He's not.
There's no bullshit to this. There's no bullshit to this. I didn't try to calm down for 2 seconds to understand what I'm saying.
I'm calm. We just not going to disrespect Caruso.
Okay,
no Caruso slander.
You don't gotta calm down. We can just be yelling.
Not doing that.
Just hear what I'm saying. Just hear what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, there's no way, Ron. There's no way. I don't care what anybody thinks they're seeing on this basketball court. There is no way that this dude should be able to deny you the basketball. And I'm watching. I'm looking. There's so many times Jokic is wide open. Yeah. Alex Caruso's doing this, and bumping, but he's wide open. Ron, I'm looking at these entry passes. They're non-existent. Like but on top of that, Jokic isn't giving them a target anyway. And sometimes when he is, they're just missing him. They're not dropping it down. I don't know if they work on entry passes coming up anymore. I don't know if that's a thing or not. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure what's going on, but I and with all due respect to Alex Caruso, because he was working his ass off, and then Chet was coming with the double helping. I mean, they were working hard, but when you was getting Jokic the ball, he was getting good looks. When he was being physical, it was right there. I think Jokic saw it yesterday. I'm sorry, he was being extremely soft. The flopping really hurt him. I think the flopping accelerated that run they went on. You know what I mean?
I want to ask Ox and Jay a question. I want to ask you guys a question because you always talk about how you played ball, right? It's always your narrative, especially you, Ox. So you're telling me a 6'5", 190-pound dude who is a defensive player who is probably, I don't know how strong he is, but I'm assuming he's significantly strong. You're telling me because you're a big man. You're telling me no one smaller, shorter than you has never been strong enough to make your life difficult in the post. Hold on. And Jay, as a smaller guard, as strong as I know you are, because I've seen highlights of you play, you're telling me you've never gone in and guarded someone taller than you and made their life miserable with your physicality and strength?
I have been able to do that. However,
Silence Caruso.
I have been able to do that. However, the difference is against the best player on the planet who primarily plays in the post.
Allegedly.
You should not.
But not known for his physicality and known for his
100%. Caruso might be the best.
You don't got to go that far with it. Chill. You don't have to be the best player in the world. All you got to be is a physical, big. Be your regular size. Be big and give him a target and post up. What I'm saying is y'all two down here think I'm trying to take credit away from Alex Caruso.
I'm not. That's what I think you're doing. Yes, absolutely.
What I'm trying to do is understand how come the best player in the world can't post up. That's what I want to ask.
Because
how come he can't post up Alex Caruso? Alex Caruso.
How often has he faced?
I bet you he don't do that to Hakeem.
Over the regular season.
I bet you Hakeem sit at the end of the bench.
How many times have people guarded him like that in the all season long, all career long?
Well, multiple teams did it this year.
But I want to answer your question, Fluent. You said, has anybody ever been able to do that? But that's the thing. No, when you're that big, they can be as physical as you want to be. It doesn't matter. I always say basketball is really a size thing.
The defender or the big?
I'm talking about as a big, as a post player, it's really a size thing. Yo, I'm saying it's really a size. You know, look.
I'm saying the physicality.
Listen, what I'm saying. I'm saying like when your body is this big, if I got him over here and he's moving, I can move. I can move my body. I can sit down. I can sit my ass down and get in the stand. Boom, post up. One thing is you're shaking your head, Pin, but you're shaking your head. But Jokic wasn't even doing that though. It's not like Jokic was really posted up. Jokic was standing there leaning on him. Sometimes go like this. When I watch him give him a target, he ball right to him. Boom.
Alex Caruso fronting him at 6'5". Alex Caruso just
how you gonna front me with very little the weeks now. I know these dudes are moving quick. But in the playoffs, too, you got to give it to me when I'm open.
But they're not sending.
There's no respect here.
I'm in between what you're saying, Ox, and what they're saying, because I'm not giving all the blame to Jokic. I'm not giving all the credit to Caruso. I'm in the middle where did Jokic play as good as he could have and done as much as no, but did Caruso play good defense? Absolutely.
He did.
Hell yes, he did. That's why I keep saying I think he's a fantastic, amazing, incredible defender.
Yeah.
I think he played great. I think a lot of this is on the guards, allowing dudes like J-Dub, Kaysen, and Lou Dort to be all in their face like this. That ball pressure is serious. I know for a fact. So to go to just
that's what happens when you fire your coach out the season.
Right, but this what I'm saying, what you were saying a minute ago though, Fluent, like as far as experience goes, I know for a fact that if I'm guarding somebody, you know, a big dude that's way bigger than me, you know, a 4-star, one of them dudes, I'm trying my hardest to front, but I'm telling my guard, you can't just let him pass it down here. I need some ball pressure. Help me out. Because
you're also using that low center of gravity and getting low and pushing out his legs, which makes life difficult for a big guy.
It does. But that's when you're supposed to spin and post up right here.
It's not like Jokic.
He's not even working, Fluent. He's not working.
But it's not like he's fleet of foot either, right? Like he's
He has very good footwork.
I don't think this is any reason. This is to me are none of the reasons why that happened.
You don't know what the word fleet means.
Swiper, don't you can't you watch the game, bro. You can't save this. This is embarrassing.
There's no saving. I think there's basketball reasons why what happened yesterday.
Basketball reasons like I just gave
Caruso,
you. Your man's
I
being
think Caruso did a great job, but I also think that bigs. Factually, I've said this for years now, cannot be as physical with guards as guards can be with bigs. I've said this for a long time. And they were also sending help weak side on those plays. And to your point, Ock, they were sending a lot of ball pressure. So if there was a chance for them to throw the ball up top, they couldn't throw it over the top. J-Dub blocked Jamal Murray on entry passes. Russ had 3 entry passes, got Cole stolen yesterday. And then also on the short roll, Jamal Murray, because he had to jump in there and throw the ball high, Case and Wallace coming weak side as a third player, like behind Jokic, like they're.
You can point out the one time when Casey came and stole that clean ball.
I'm saying that happened multiple times.
And I'm happy to talk about that because I want to get to that too. I want to talk about the guard play too because Jamal Murray folding like laundry. I didn't expect it. How do you let these dudes just press you like this? You're holding the ball. These are professional basketball players we're talking about, y'all. We're talking about professional basketball players that are instead of getting strong with the ball, getting dudes off you and getting good angles, they're really getting ball pressure like this. I'm talking about experienced NBA basketball players.
Okay, cool. I mean, in my one hand, I have a
don't just okay, cool. Like I'm just like don't go ahead. Pete.
No, I mean,
I do think you guys are dismissing fundamentals.
Hang on,
fundamental basketball. You guys are dismissing it. Fluid, Mars, Pin. You too, Swiper.
What did I do?
Yo, Jokic is 7 foot, 380 pounds. It's no way in hell that Alex Caruso is supposed to move him off the block. It's no way in hell that Alex Caruso is supposed to not allow him to sit. We're having an actual discussion.
No,
did I say something that detracted?
I do think it matters as somebody who's watched every game and every dribble of the series. I do think it matters that Lou Dort and Caruso had also over the course of this series. There were multiple plays where Jokic got offensive foul calls earlier in the series because of how physical he was being with the guards. And I do think, but that you have to weigh that. And I do think Jokic, absolutely 100%, was also concerned if he did start really pushing them off the block and moving them around, especially on fronts. They were then going to fall over. Dort did it earlier in the year.
Oh my God, are you serious? He was afraid to play physical.
So we're just going through
the offensive foul.
I think
are you serious?
I think we're so
hey, Giannis would have fouled out. Giannis would have got 4 offensive fouls. Giannis would have fouled out the game.
We've seen the Heat do this to him. We saw Heat do this to him. This is not true. So I think
he ain't shooting 9 shots.
I think
he ain't shooting 9 shots in the game 7. I bet that.
I'm good with working through slandering Jokic. But what I would like to do is to talk about what OKC did and what they played. I'm trying to talk about the basketball. Then you came off the mic. So I'm saying I think it's very smart to take a smaller defender to play versus a bigger player because there's a level of physicality that big cannot operate with. And I think you saw over the course of the series.
He didn't even try
when Jokic did. I disagree with you, Ox.
It's literally a mismatch. You play basketball to get mismatches. You want to get bigs switched on guards, and you want to get guards switched on bigs.
100% is a mismatch.
If it's not a mismatch, then he's not the greatest offensive player in the NBA. If it's not a mismatch. If it's not a mismatch.
I think the thing
what I'm saying about
on the block, I'd have seen him cook Dwight Howard on the block. I'd seen him cook every center on the block.
Stop right there, Ron, because you keep talking about box work. Number one, that's not where the action was starting at. That action started in the mid post and it started on the perimeter, which is where Alex Caruso is bodying him. How about we move Joker to the actual box? How about we get Joker on the box?
He got less touches.
I'm not done. How about we move Joker to the actual box where now there is no weak side help over the top? When I get him on
there would be weak side help over the top on Caruso.
This is my issue.
Caruso was playing.
They had more success with Jokic at the nail, and Jokic scored on Caruso at the nail multiple possessions because when he got. What did you say, Morris?
When he wasn't 2 possessions, it was like 2 possessions he scored on Caruso.
So multiple possessions. When he gets the ball at the nail,
he only made 5 shots.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Used to the word multiple.
You can't.
That is multiple.
It's a couple. It's a
couple. If we can just not get lost in semantics, for the love of God, right? All I'm saying is, it's easier to give him the ball at the nail. But what they started doing very well is the weak side on the opposite end. When he would get the ball in the right hand, they were cheating over, and that's when J-Dub got a steal on him. Caruso got a steal on him. I think some of this is when he's at the nail chill, they have the ability to give him the ball without multiple people, meaning a backside defender and fronter being there. And I think if you put him on the nail, then they're literally, especially if it's not, again, remember, if it's not Murray, it's Brown or it's Russ, they're already cheating off. So there's a fronter, there's somebody cheating off the man here, and there's somebody behind him on the other shot. If it's Jamal has to get the ball into him. But even at that point, they're still sending 4 to 5 at Jokic, and in particular, smaller players. So what I think is you saw over the course of the series, Jokic was hunting Chet. He was hunting Hart because that changes the way they're able to play defense versus him. And he found a lot of success, as we saw, versus Chet and versus Hart over the course of the series because it's easier to have that kind of physical style versus another big as opposed to a guard. But I think Caruso does a lot of credit because he did play extremely smart. He played extremely hard at the level. He tried to deny the ball as often as he possibly could. And I think they made the adjustment because in the first quarter and in the first half, Jokic had 17 points, had went to the free throw line 11 times. So he was dominating on the inside. He was getting fouled consistently. And then what they did was they said, what we're going to do, we're going to take Isaiah Hartenstein out the game chill. We're putting Caruso in, and we're going to play deny for the entire third quarter. He shot the ball one time in the third quarter.
Right.
Because they literally could not get him the basketball. And Jokic, to me, also didn't do fight it hard enough, I think, to get the ball for the rest of the quarter as well. I think multiple things happened. I think the team functionally didn't give him the ball and couldn't, as you saw in the turnovers. I think Jokic could have been more physical. But what I also did say in the third quarter is that I think that over the course of I just think they got worn down. I think the whole team, I think Aaron Gordon being injured, Porter being injured, they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything out of anybody else. And then Murray and Porter had 6 points in the first half. Jokic had 17. Brown had 12. They had 29 of the 46 points. They couldn't get any scoring out of anyone. So I think them trying to come back into the game, plus the fact they were turning the ball over, plus the fact that OKC started hitting their shot. J-Dub was 8 of whatever. I think 8 of 11 in the first half or something like that. He had got it going. Caruso was a plus 40 in the game. Casey Wallace was a plus 20 in the first half. The bench units, I think all that stuff changed. The Nuggets couldn't have anybody. Julian Strawther did nothing. Russell did nothing. Peyton Watson did nothing. Caruso played well. Casey Wallace came off the bench and played well. Plus, the starters got it going. I think that after the momentum subsided for the Nuggets in the first quarter and then went into the fourth, and then they went on those rolls and those lead at the top of the second, into the second. I think all of that led into what happened. Because Jokic had just had a 34-16 game or whatever that was and played super well, had just had a 40-15-5 game and had just played well versus them. So he obviously had figured something out. And in the first half, he was cooking. I thought we were headed towards like Jokic having another 30-20 game. But I think they just made the proper adjustments. They made the proper adjustments and go ahead.
Sure. Now, to counter what you just said, because you did make an interesting point about Joker being at the nail, and I understand that part because now there's more spacing, there's more room for me to operate, and there's more options on offense with whether getting MPJ involved in offense, whether getting Russ diving to the basket. I can definitely appreciate that. No question about that. But I felt like when they went to Caruso, it wasn't recognized that there was more connectors. See, the reason why he was doing what he was, there was more connectors. See, when he was doing what he was doing, when he had that 44-20 game, when he had that 40-15 game, they basically left him and Caruso in the mid post. Those connectors weren't there as quickly. When he was on the wing and when he was in the mid post, those connectors were a lot closer yesterday.
What do you mean connectors?
The Case and Wallace, the help defense, it was closer. It was a lot closer, and they shot the gaps to Joker a lot quicker than it was in previous times. So when he would get the ball and he would dribble one, dribble two, and then he would get into the paint, they would swarm him. That wasn't going on that wasn't going on in game one. That wasn't going on 2 nights ago in game 5. That wasn't going on. They were essentially leaving him by himself. They weren't swarming Joker like that. On top of that, you can't leave out
in the post.
Yes, he was in the post,
but he didn't get the ball in the post consistently though.
Well, that's Swiper.
They couldn't give him the ball in the post consistently.
And that's the point, Swiper. I don't want him to play. That's the point, Swiper. I don't want him to play in the mid post and on the wing. I want him to be in the post. And Jamal Murray.
They double off the low.
They weren't doubling. They weren't doubling off of him yesterday. That wasn't. I'm watching.
A pre-double is a double.
A pre-double is okay. So just so you know, Swiper, pre-cooked isn't cooked. Those two things aren't the same thing. No,
if you send chill.
If you're pre-cooking it, that doesn't mean it's cooked.
Chill. If you're fronting on one end and then you have a backside defender, then that's a
still ain't doubling.
But they couldn't throw the ball into him.
If I ask for the basketball, I'm on the box.
Yeah.
If I got Alex Caruso, who is 6'5", I'm on the box, and I got Alex Caruso, whether he's in front of me or on the side of me, and I'm asking for the basketball. That is my job as a wing or as a primary ball handler.
They couldn't give him the ball. They couldn't. They literally could not.
And when they did get him the basketball, he got into the lane, they swarmed him. So what I would like to do, what I would like to have
off
seen.
Of who?
Did I not see? Am I losing my mind, Swipe? But did I not see Chet? Did I not see Alex Caruso? And did I not see Casey Wallace jump him in the middle of the lane? Which would explain why MPJ
I
was
agree,
wide
but
open.
I'm saying,
did I not see that?
That speaks to the issue, though. They didn't have people that could make those shots and make them punished for playing that way yesterday.
Well, that's definitely a problem, and that's another problem that we have. If those guys can make shots, then you could get more one-on-one coverage, right? But if I got Alex Caruso, if I got Alex Caruso on me, right? If I got Alex Caruso on me, I should be able to operate on him closer to the box as opposed to being on the wing.
But it's not just one. It's not one-on-one defense, though, Chill. That's why I guess I'm confused about. If it was one-on-one, I get you, but that's not what it was. And then on top of that, to your point, if they had other players making shots, if Jamal Murray or Gordon if he was healthy,
sure,
Porter if healthy, then they weren't though. I'm saying those players weren't factors for most of the game. I think Gordon tried. He had 8 points and 11 rebounds yesterday. He tried. Yes, like he literally fought his tail off, almost cursed to do what he did yesterday. For me, Gordon deserves all the credit in the world. I don't think he should have played either. But he wanted to show up for his team yesterday, and Jokic even told him, don't play, because you can make it worse. But he wanted to show up, and Gordon played better than Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. yesterday. I do think if both of those two players play better, especially if Jamal, if he was a factor at all, then it's not a 60-46 game going into half. Might be 58-60, might be 56-60. And then that way you're starting the third quarter off, you're not down 14. And then on the other end, defensively, Aaron Gordon, they went back to that 2-3 zone chill. AG literally could not move backside and got beat multiple possessions to start the third quarter off, which is not his fault. Which is not his fault.
I did see that.
I don't blame him at all for that. They had to play him. Peyton was horrible yesterday.